Good morning, it's Nick from Nick's Handmade Crochet, and yeah, as the title said, what happens when you decide you want to have a glass of wine, which I don't do very often in the most recent months, but I had a glass of wine and I just thought I'm just going to put something streaming and do some crocheting as always, and I was doing really well until about halfway through my project, which are the gloves that I'm making at the moment. I realised that I was making a second left hand glove. So yeah, not advisable to be so relaxed that you forget what mitten or fingerless glove you are doing, especially since they are left and right handed. So of course, then I had to spend twice as much time doing two right handed gloves to finish the sets. Anyway, note to self, just be a bit more mindful if you want a glass of wine. So I did find the pattern to the set that I've been making, the beanie and the cowl set, which I'm really in love with, the brioche style of crocheting. And I've just had the one pattern that I bought from, well, several patterns rather, from the one designer, Ludmilla Hefny, I think, if I pronounce her name correctly, apologies if not. And I'm really loving it. I think I've mentioned that before. Anyway, I wanted to bring up a few points, regardless of the wine and the watching Netflix or streaming, whatever, is gauge swatching and tension. Now, even though I did do a gauge swatch for the first one I made, it still was a bit big, and no matter how I try, whether it's baby booties or whatever, your tension doesn't stay the same for either, for one to the other. So the first glove I made, which I'm really happy with, such a pretty design. So my tension is usually bigger for the very, very first one, looser, because I am referring back to the pattern, because that's a line by line and each row is different. So I'm stopping and starting and stopping and starting. So it's hard to maintain tension when you're focusing on a line by line or row by row pattern. Anyway, I find that for me. So the second one is smaller. I mean, it's quite noticeable to me. The fit's still quite good. But yeah, anyway, so then I finished that set and I thought, okay, I'm going to do another set. So I gauge swatched again and I went down a hook size for the yarn. So the first set, that was a Bendigo Woolen Mills, that's the pumpkin spice to go with the set that I've made, and I used a 3.5mm hook for that. So to make it a bit, and I've got quite big hands, I thought I'll make it a bit smaller because the wool might stretch a little bit over time. So then I made the set with the Whimsy, and I was pretty pleased with that. Look, I wasn't so strict with using my stitch marker, and I noticed that the edges were a little not as straight, and because I'm trying to find the stitch, because this pattern works in the back loop only. It has slip stitches and extended slip stitches, and I really like the effect it gives a knit look. So the set that I was doing, I wanted to time myself and I'd made one, and I thought I'll make the other one, and I'll be clever, and I'll take some photos, and I'll time myself. And I decided just to have a break for a bit and come back. And when I was just having the break, I just thought, I'm making another left-handed glove. Like, I start from the beginning of the pattern instead of halfway through where it gives you instructions for the right side. Yeah, so I don't know if I can blame the wine or just my own silliness in thinking I was being clever to take photos and time and do all that sort of stuff. In saying that, it took me about 3.5 hours to make one glove. Now, this is once I'd already tested the pattern twice, and I had a bit of a flow, and I wasn't watching TV or streaming anything, and I just thought, I will just time myself making this pattern beginning to end. Obviously, I stopped the clock when I just got up to have a break and now and again. But yeah, one glove. So when people sort of think, oh, I don't want to have to pay too much for something handmade, like surely it doesn't take that long. Well, actually, a set of those gloves would take 7 hours. Yeah, so how do you charge for your work if you've bought the yarn, you've organised, you've chosen it, you've ordered it, you've paid for postage, it arrives, or you go shopping, yeah, then it takes the time to make. So it's tricky for the handmade products of items and how you would charge for them. So I'm not sure if I'm doing a market what I would charge for those gloves that took me 7 hours for one set with wool, Australian wool. Anyway, that's it for now. I just wanted to post some progress shots of making the glove. Sorry, got helicopter going past. Yeah, I just wanted to pop up some photos of the progress, and don't be afraid to use lots of stitch markers, because in the end I think I was using up to 6 stitch markers. I had one at each end, and then because with brioche crochet you're doing different number of stitches per rows and it's back and forth, I just ended up using more stitch markers. And even though I've been crocheting for about 10 years now, stitch markers are your best friend. That's my tip of the day anyway. So that's it for me for now, and I was happy crocheting, and I'll see you soon. Bye.